Welcome back. If you're new here, we're taking on every boss in Old School RuneScape as someone who is extremely unfamiliar with PvM. And if you're just like me and don't have a ton of PvM experience, or maybe you're super experienced, come hang out with me and let's take on this adventure together. I'm snooortch, and this is one boss at a time. Hey, you're back for another episode. That means one thing. You want to watch me kill some more bosses. And I'm definitely in the mood for that. Last episode, we took on the first few bosses in the medium tier. And if you missed it, be sure to check that out. While the bosses so far haven't been super complex, they're definitely starting to have mechanics that I need to master to defeat them. And I can tell that things won't be getting any easier. But I'm excited. I'm excited to be challenged with new mechanics to learn, new areas to explore, and as always, getting a little bit better with PvM. If you remember, we left off on the Kraken, and due to the Slayer requirement, we skipped this boss, but when I reach 87 Slayer, we will come back. So the next boss on the list is Sarachnis. If you've been following along since the beginning, you'll know that we already defeated this boss. But this was before I had a game plan set in place. I was just blindly picking bosses to kill. You should check out the first video of the series if you're interested. Or, you know, I guess we could just kill Sarachnis again. Sarachnis is a level 318 spider boss located in the 4th OS dungeon. Bring your best crush weapon and protect from melee when in melee range and protect from range when you're not. Her attacks are very accurate, so you'll want to stay on top of your prayer. Throughout the fight, she'll spawn 2 spiders, a melee and a mage. Kill the mage and then get back onto Sarachnis, avoiding the melee spider. Remember to turn on your range prayer when you get out of melee distance. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Again, if you want to watch my first time killing Sarachnis, it's in the first video of the series. Nice. We have the first boss of the episode out of the way. We're definitely on our way to finishing up this medium tier, so let's go get ready for the next fight. So, we are going to be heading back into the wild for this next boss, but I'm excited. This boss brings a pretty big nostalgia slap. I used to try to kill this boss a ton with my sister when I was a kid, and guess what? I never did kill it. Even to this day, I haven't killed this boss. But that's just because I've never been back. This boss is by no means a difficult one, so let's finally do it. Let's kill this boss from my childhood. Let's go kill the KBD. So I didn't look up a guide for this, but I just quickly scanned the wiki, and my strategy is going to be to just drink an anti-fire, use protect for melee, and hope for the best. Obviously, as a kid, I probably didn't know what I was doing. I'm sure I wasn't even a high enough level to even attempt the KBD. But this boss seems pretty straightforward now. That said, I'd do just about anything to wipe my RuneScape memory completely clean and experience the game for the first time all over again. There was just something about not knowing anything about this game and letting everything be a new experience. Here are some quick facts about the KBD. The King Black Dragon is level 276 and located in the Deep Wild. Has a chance of dropping the Dragon Pickaxe at a rate of 1 in 1,000. Also, the KBD pet, in my opinion, is one of the coolest pets out there. And of course, my sister, who barely plays anymore, has it. But good for her. One last fact, the KBD has now been killed by snooortch a total of 1 time.
Combat task completed.
Nice. We also got a combat task completed. So the next boss in the medium tier is actually another Slayer-locked boss. We have the Thermonuclear Smoke Devil. Never heard of it before, and I don't know anything about it, but I do know that I need 93 Slayer for it. So we'll have to come back when I get that. And trust me, I'm grinding as much Slayer as I can in between episodes so that we can get these Slayer bosses cleaned up. That said, there are only 3 bosses left in the medium tier. These 3 bosses are great for making some GP and learning some fun mechanics. Seriously, the last 3 bosses on this list are actually pretty fun in my opinion, and definitely worth learning. So we'll spend a little extra time on them. First up are the Royal Titans. The Royal Titans are not really a new boss for me. I learned them just before starting this series, and I fell in love with fighting them. I think they actually sparked my need to go on this bossing adventure. So far, we've had bosses that have really tested our mechanics with prayer switching, which is absolutely fundamental to PvM. And another PvM fundamental is gear switching, and eventually we'll have to mix both. But I can promise you, I'm a long way from being ready to do that. But what I like most about the Royal Titans is that we're only focusing on gear switching and not prayer switching. So this is an easy entry into this new mechanic. You'll want to bring your best melee gear and an even switch for both range and mage. By even switch, I mean the number of items you bring for the switch. For example, if I bring 4 range items to switch to, I'll also want to bring 4 mage items to switch to. This helps greatly with inventory placement and muscle memory. This isn't mandatory, but it's a pretty good tip that a buddy of mine gave me, and I thought it worked pretty well for me. Technically, the Royal Titans are 2 bosses, not 1, but they're fought together. We have Eldrick the Ice King and Branda the Fire Queen, both level 350 and both attack you at the same time. But if you do things correctly, you can take like no damage here. I'll walk you through the strategy for a solo kill, but this is a great boss to do as a duo with a friend, especially if you don't have the Twin Flame Staff. But more about that in a little bit. So for the fight, what I usually do is start with the Fire Queen, but you can choose either one to attack first. Just turn on your Protect for melee, and that's all you have to do with your prayer. No prayer switching required, just make sure your prayer doesn't run out. When they're not within melee distance, you'll want to range them. So upon entering, use range and attack whichever giant you want. When you see some overhead text above them, that means they're about to come attack you within melee range. At this point, switch into your melee gear and do as much damage as you can. Eventually they'll wander off again and you'll need to switch to your range. It's super important to just melee them when they're in melee range because they have significantly higher range defense when they're in melee range, and it's considerably weakened when they're not in melee distance anymore. So that's why it's good to use range. Throughout this phase, the giants will be doing 3 things. Their standard attack that is negated by Protect for melee, so this isn't something you technically need to avoid or anything like that. As long as you have your Protect for melee on, you're good. And then there's these little annoying things. Each giant will spawn 3 of their respective elementals. They are one-shot with the right magic spell, which is the one that they're weakest to. This is why the Twin Flame Staff is so powerful here. It'll automatically use the spell that the monster is weak to. So all you need to do is stack these guys and click on them. Your staff will cast the right spell for you. If you ignore them, they will blow up and stack damage on you, so try to kill them. The next thing to watch out for are these little walls that each giant creates. There's a fire and an ice wall respectively. When they're initially created, you have time to move out the way before they're fully intact. If you're standing on a tile that is part of the wall, you'll take damage. You can't walk through these, so if they pile up, it's best to take them out. And you can do that by using the right spell. And when you attack a tile in the wall, 2 or 3 of the tiles will vanish in one shot. Also, another really good reason to use the Twin Flame Staff here. So that was a lot, and I know it can even look overwhelming, but this boss isn't super punishing for messing up. I mess up quite a bit still, but let's review. So far, we've learned that their standard attack can be negated by using Protect for melee. They'll spawn little elementals that we can kill pretty quickly with the right spell, which, by the way, water spells kill the fire elementals and fire spells kill the water elementals. And lastly, the ice and fire walls. These can also be used strategically to keep the elementals away from you for a short period of time if needed. Something to note is that while by themselves, these mechanics are not really too terrible, these are all happening at the exact same time. So there's a ton of multitasking here. So paying attention, practice, and responding quickly and thoughtfully will be your best bet here in the first phase. Yep, that's right. This is only the first phase. There's 2 phases when killing the Royal Titans, but I have a little more to share with you before we get into the second phase. In order to end the first phase, you must get the HP of one of the giants down to a little less than 250. It doesn't matter which one, but as soon as that happens, the second phase will start. I'm saying this because it's highly recommended to get both down to about 250 or higher around the same time before initiating the second phase. This will be much easier to do once you've actually tried it a few times, but this is because when one of the giants fully dies, you can no longer negate the standard attack with Protect for melee, and you'll take some pretty heavy damage. It's advised to keep their HP pretty similar throughout the fight, especially at the end. So, once I get my first giant's HP down to 250, I repeat everything on the other giant, and then once the second phase starts, you'll know, because both giants will teleport themselves to their own side of the layer. So I forgot to mention, and you may already be wondering, why bring a mage setup if it's only for the elementals and they're just one shot? Well, this isn't a super in-depth guide, so I haven't gone over every single detail. But if you do want a more detailed guide on any of these bosses that I do, just let me know down below and I'd be super happy to make you one. But to answer the question, I believe you need a minimum mage attack bonus or something like that in order to hit them in one shot. I'm a little fuzzy on the details, but the wiki is usually what I use to get all my information about these bosses. And if you're following along with this series, be sure to utilize the wiki as much as possible. I won't always cover every aspect. I'm really just taking you guys on the journey. These may seem like little mini guides, but as soon as these bosses get really hard, it's going to be a lot of me failing. So this series is going to transition into a lot less informative and a whole lot more of me fighting for my life. But let's get back to the fight. It's pretty much just mechanical repetition until the first phase is over. Just repeat everything that we've done so far, which I think is great. This gives you tons of practice with gear switching, moving around, and making quick, smart decisions. Alright, so now I've got the HP down low enough on the Ice King to initiate the second phase. Quick pro tip here is when you know you're about to start this second phase, clean up the fire and ice wall so that you don't get stuck. But you'll no longer be dealing with these walls in the second phase, but rather this new mechanic. Every few attacks, they'll spawn a spot on the ground that you need to stand on. They'll hit the ground 3 times, and you'll take some pretty significant damage if you're not on this spot. Also, you'll still have to deal with these stupid elementals. Just take them out as you did earlier. And it's pretty much rinse and repeat. But the main thing that you need to remember is do not fully kill either giant without the other, meaning get one of the giant's HP super low, like 1 or 2 hits away from death before defeating the other one. This is so that you can kill them at relatively the same time. If you're left with just one giant to kill, your Protect from Melee prayer will not negate the damage from their stomp attack, and you'll take some pretty big damage. Also, the tile that you'll need to stand on for their other special attack will be on the complete opposite side of the layer. So I have a challenge for you, but only after you've gotten a few Royal Titan kills under your belt. If this is your first time here and you're not used to gear switching, just stand on the appropriate tile for their special attack, wait for it to be finished, and then just get back to attacking one of the giants. But as you progress and get better, I challenge you to do a quick range switch, attack one of the giants, and then quick melee switch back again to get back on the giant after their special attack. This increases your overall DPS and allows for faster kills, and you'll get pretty fast at gear switching. This is what I mean. Switch to range quickly and get 1 or 2 attacks in, and then switch back to melee and get right back to work. It's definitely easier said than done, and I'm really not that great at it, as you can see, but I've gotten considerably better than where I was when I first started. And this is a super useful mechanic to master. Okay, watch, let's try this again. Alright, it's quick switch to range, get a couple of good hits in, switch back to melee, get right back on the Ice King. Did you see that? It almost looked like I knew what I was doing. Ice King down, now let's go finish off the Fire Queen, and Royal Titans are done. Once you've killed them, you can choose to loot either the Ice King or the Fire Queen. They both have the same drop rate for the pet, but do have similar yet different drops. The main drops from the Ice King that you'll want to make sure to get are the Ice Element Staff Crown and the Deadeye Prayer Scroll. Similarly, the Fire Queen drops the Fire Element Staff Crown and the Mystic Vigor Prayer Scroll. Each of these staff crowns can be combined to create the Twin Flame Staff that you saw me use during the fight. They're both dropped at a rate of 1 in 75, so not bad. Also, the Giant Soul Amulet is a 1 out of 16 drop, and it teleports you directly to the Slayer, Obor, or Bryophyta, so that's pretty cool. Okay, so that was a lot, I know, but wow, things are just not simple anymore, are they? But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't having a blast. This is so exciting to me. Just when I think there's no more mechanics to learn, we end up learning brand new mechanics. And the next 2 bosses have no shortage of mechanics to learn. In the next episode, we are going to finish off this medium tier by defeating the hardest 2 bosses yet, with mechanics we haven't used yet and new areas that I've never been to. I'm getting so excited progressing through these bosses, and I know it's making me a better PVMer. I mean, it has to be, if I want to defeat every boss in Old School RuneScape.